A special guest in studio, Dynamo legend Brian Ching, and entrepreneur. That's your main title these days. Brian, how you doing?
Doing good. Thanks for having me.
We'll get into that second part here in a little bit, but first let's talk soccer. This is a sports show after all. What do you think so far of that Women's World Cup team? Most goals in the group stage in World Cup history. They are on a roll and they look pretty good.
You know, they've done exactly what they're expected to do, you know, and I think there are a lot of questions coming in, not really about the first two games. Those are hands down wins for them, and they obviously handled them very well. I think the real question was when they came up against Sweden, because Sweden's a good team, and they actually played really, really well. And I think they answered a lot of questions kind of coming in. There were questions of, you know, is this defense good enough? Is the goalkeeper good enough? You know, are they going to gel? Are they going to play as a unit? And, you know, I give the team a lot of credit. You know, they answered every single one of those questions in the game. You know, they made it through to the knockout stage pretty easily. I think they're going to come up against a Spain team that they should handle pretty easily. Mm-hmm. But the real test is going to be when they hit the quarterfinals against France. You know, that's the projected. And France just beat them 3-0 at the beginning of the year in France. So it's going to be a really, really tough match that, you know, I don't think anybody can say that the U.S. is a hands-down favorite when they're going into the quarterfinals.
What's it like? I mean, you've played on such a big stage before. For them to have not only the spotlight on them, but the expectation. I mean, everybody expects these ladies to win. You know, unlike maybe the men's team, but these, I mean, they are, as well as France, the favorites to win this whole thing. So what do you think about how they've progressed as a unit and that talent that kind of keeps coming through the system there?
Yeah, you know, I think one of the things that has really helped the U.S. women's team kind of expand their player pool is the NWSL, teams like the Dash, right? Mm-hmm. Gives a lot more players an opportunity to develop and then push the players that are on the national team. And I think that, you know, you've kind of seen that evolution. But, you know, I think when you're looking at the women's team, you know, and the tournament, you know, there is definitely that expectations. And with that expectations, a lot of times comes pressure on yourself. And, you know, I think kind of leading up to the World Cup, you could kind of see that pressure playing out on the team. You know, a lot of players were trying to make the team. You know, they didn't know if they're going to be on the team, and then they weren't getting quite the results that everyone expected. So it kind of created a lot of those questions that I alluded to earlier. And, you know, what's been great to see is kind of how they've kind of come together, you know, and to deal with the world, and to deal with that pressure. And you need something that unifies the group. And I think they've kind of found that, and they're kind of rallying around that. And that's why I think that they've been impressive in their last game against Sweden, and hopefully, and they know they're not perfect yet, but they need to continue to improve, because I think, you know, the World Cup final to me should be France versus USA in the final, but that's not going to happen. It's going to meet in the quarterfinals, so it's going to be a big challenge.
On the flip side, what do you think about the men's squad in the Gold Cup? Now, Mexico beat Canada the other day, so they're actually going to be playing here in Houston in the quarterfinal stage of the Gold Cup, which is great news for Houston, and I know that stadium's going to be slammed that night. But what do you think about this men's team and their evolution, where they kind of want to get back to that world stage where they've been on before?
So I think when you look at the evolution is, you know, we had a massive failure in not qualifying for the last World Cup, and so there's a lot of looking back on itself that U.S. soccer has done, and, you know, we're kind of building out of that. And I don't think the real goal is 2022, but it's going to be 2026 when the U.S. hosts the World Cup. And when you look at our team, there's a lot of young, talented players like the McKinneys, the Pulisics, you know, Wea. You know, that Boyd kid who scored a couple of goals the other night. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of excitement, and they're playing for big clubs around the world. You know, they're not just here.
Which I guess is the first step, right? I mean, to get that experience against some of the best players in the world. Not saying that MLS isn't great and all that, but MLS is attracting more talent. But when you have some of your skill players like that play abroad, I mean, that's huge for your brand as well.
Not only play abroad, but play for some of the best teams in the world. You know, where was at PSG? You know, you have Pulisic, who's just going over to, I think it's Chelsea now, right? And then you got, I can't recall the team that Boyd's playing for, but they're actually playing for some really good teams, and consistently, and that's the big thing, right? And they're really young kids, so as you're going to kind of see, the U.S. team right now is a work in progress. You know, we got a new coach that I think understands what the American mentality used to be and wants to get the team back to that. Mm-hmm. And on top of that, he has a great system in place that he's been successful, you know, not only here coaching at Columbus, but he's also coached in Europe as well and been successful there. So I think, you know, those combination of things, we have to give it time, right? This is very new. You know, the young players are kind of getting acquainted with him, getting acquainted with being on the national team a lot of times, and you know, I'm excited to see how this team's going to grow. You know, the Gold Cup is just the first step in this process, and it's a really opportunity for Berhalter to have the kids or the team together for a month, right?
Sure.
So, and you know, that's very extremely rare opportunity for him to really kind of instill his values and what he wants out of the team. Because, you know, with the national team, you're only in there for a couple of days, play the game, go home, back to your club team. So this is a great opportunity for him to really kind of instill what he expects, you know, the vision, and get the group to kind of gel.
All right, so as for you and your life these days, it's a little complicated, it's a little busy. First, let's start with the success of Pitch 25. I love the place. I've been there several times. We did a story on that place when you guys first opened up around the World Cup. How successful has that been? How proud are you of what that place has become?
You know, Pitch 25 has been, you know, I always thought it was a great idea, but you never really know if your great idea is going to turn into a successful
I remember you were a
business
little
ventures.
nervous there at the beginning. I was like, how's this going to work?
Yeah, for sure. And but opening the doors and seeing the kind of reception that we got right off the bat, you know, with the World Cup being the place to be, you know, getting 1,000 people plus in there, and people actually enjoying it and loving it, you know, and we've been open for a year now, and I can say that it's
time flies, doesn't it?
It definitely does fly. I thought it was going to be successful, and it has been extremely successful. And you know, thanks to everybody who's come out and been a part of it and enjoyed their experiences there. You know, we're kind of still, you know, it's trying to grow on it. You know, there's a lot of things that we still want to do to make it continue it to the success of it. And you know, we are a Houston sports bar. You know, obviously, soccer is a big part of us. But you know, for the Texans fans, we tremendous amount of Texans fans, Rockets fans, even Astros fans. So
yeah, on game days, I'm sure it's slammed in there too.
It is definitely slammed in there, and so it's been great, you know. But knowing myself, I'm never satisfied. I always want to do better, and so you know, hopefully we can continue to keep people's interest and people enjoy their experience there.
Speaking of doing better, you're using this kind of as a springboard to some other things, a new project, East End Backyard. Tell us a little bit about this and how did it all come about? What is it, and what are you expecting out of this new location?
Yeah, so I never really thought I was going to be in the bar business, you know, long term. I just, you know, I thought this was a great idea. I did it, and then, you know, this other opportunity fell in my lap. You know, I have a good buddy of mine who owns a property on 1105 Sampson, and we're looking to kind of create a small neighborhood type bar. And you know, when you look at Edo and the growth, and you look at, you know, the type of homes that are there, you know, nobody really has a backyard. You know, and what we want to do is kind of go in there and create a place for the community to kind of come, hang out, play games, bring their dog, because we're going to have a little part of a dog park in there, and relax and get to know their neighbors. You know, and I think that you know, that's what this whole vibe is about. You know, and then on top of that, we're going to have one of the biggest patio spaces for a bar. 20,000 square feet. Wow. Right, and part of that is not only we want to put a bar in there, eventually we want to put a little coffee shop, you know, like a taco shop, you know, kind of create like complementary businesses that all kind of work off each other, feed one another, and I think it's going to be a really cool spot. I'm really, really excited about it. You know, like I said, I didn't think I was going to be in the bar business, but you know, the opportunities and the things kind of fell into place for me. And it just makes business sense, and so that's why I kind of jumped on this opportunity. I'm really looking forward to, and you know, along with Pitch, we're going to crowdfund, and we've already started that crowdfund process. We have about 118 people already on there. We've raised about 65,000. We're trying to get to 100,000. So there's only a few days left. So please come on out, be a part of it. You know, basically. Through Next Seed, you invest in Pitch 25 as a loan, and so you come, you can get a return off of a place that you frequent and love.
Oh, nice, awesome. Well, how has this really helped your transition from your playing days over to life after soccer? I would think so, and it kind of gives you kind of a new focus, right, on what you can put all your attention towards.
Yeah. So you know, when I was done retired. I mean, you think you know where you want to go, but you don't know if you're going to actually love it, right? And so one of the things I thought I wanted to do was run a team one day. And, you know, I had that opportunity. Thankfully, the organization gave me an opportunity to run the dash, and I learned a tremendous amount over the years. And I realized that, you know, my passion's really not there, right? And through that process, I was kind of working on Pitch 25 and entrepreneurial side of things. And, you know, I really found a bit of a passion for that on that side of things. And so, you know, with Pitch coming up and then, you know, this other opportunity. So yeah, I really am, I feel like more of an entrepreneurial side now. And I've actually just started working for a financial advisory firm as well. So that's, you know, another thing that I'm actually really interested in, and it's really driving me these days.
Wow, don't be too busy now, okay? Brian, thanks so much for joining us as always. It's a pleasure. Good luck to you.